As we travel over the glinting waters of New York Harbor, a colossal figure looms in the distance, shimmering in the morning light. Her torch held aloft, the figure seems to reach for the sky itself. This is more than a mere statue. It's an embodiment of ideals, an iconic symbol of freedom and democracy. The majestic Statue of Liberty. The sight of the towering, robed woman, clutching a tablet in one hand and a torch, ablaze with golden light, in the other, is known the world over. Her significance transcends borders and reaches beyond the realm of art and architecture. She is a beacon, a symbol of hope and new beginnings. Our journey begins as we trace the contours of this imposing figure, towering above the New York skyline. As she comes into view, we are transported back to a time when she served as the first welcoming sight for those in search of a new life. Millions of immigrants, weary from long journeys across the Atlantic, hearts filled with hope, would catch sight of this towering figure, a sign that they had finally arrived, that they were on the brink of a new life in a land of opportunities, the United States of America. The tale of the Statue of Liberty is one of unwavering perseverance, international collaboration, and a lasting friendship between two nations, France and the United States. Her story is one of dedication, struggle and triumph, where artistry and engineering merge in an astonishing feat of human accomplishment. Join us as we discover the remarkable history of the Statue of Liberty, the icon that enlightens the world. Today, the Statue of Liberty gazes out across New York Harbor, but it wasn't always so. Her story began across the Atlantic, in the heart of Paris, where in the middle of the 19th century, a visionary named Édouard de Laboulaye lived and worked. A professor of law, an abolitionist, and a fervent admirer of American democratic ideals, Laboulaye was deeply engrossed in the societal changes of his time. He was also a firm believer in the power of symbols. He observed the United States, a young nation across the sea, wrestling with its own contradictions, and embroiled in the throes of a bloody civil war. It was a turbulent period in American history, where brother was pitted against brother, and the very fabric of the nation seemed to be tearing apart. With the Civil War came great strife, but also the opportunity for change and progress. The conflict brought to a head the deep-seated issues that had plagued the nation since its inception. It was a battle of ideologies that culminated in the emancipation of millions, marking the abolition of slavery. After the war drew to a close, Laboulaye saw a moment of triumph and unity. He envisioned a monument, a gift from France to the United States, not only to celebrate a century of American independence, but also as an embodiment of both nations' shared values of liberty and democracy. Here was the genesis of the idea that would eventually culminate into the Statue of Liberty. Born from the ashes of a devastating conflict, it would be a testament to the enduring human spirit, the power of freedom, and the hope of a more just and equitable world. But it takes more than an idea to create a monument. It takes skill and hard work. For the former, Laboulaye turned to his friend, Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi. A renowned French sculptor, Bartholdi was a skilled craftsman known for his monumental works, and he was deeply captivated by the project. In 1870, he embarked on the design process, drawing inspiration from a range of sources, including classical Greco-Roman representations of the goddess Libertas. Every element of the statue was imbued with significance. The 7 spikes of the crown represent rays of light, traveling to the 7 continents and oceans of the world. The torch, held high in her right hand, is a beacon of enlightenment, representing knowledge and progress. In her left arm, she carries a tablet inscribed with July 4, 1776, in Roman numerals, a nod to the United States Declaration of Independence. Her feet, purposefully crafted to depict motion, stand atop broken chains and shackles, a powerful symbol of liberation from oppression and tyranny. With each new symbol, Bartholdi's careful consideration and meticulous attention to detail become increasingly apparent. The Statue of Liberty was not just intended to be a spectacle, but a carefully designed, deeply symbolic masterpiece. It is a testament to Bartholdi's ingenuity, and a physical manifestation of Laboulaye's vision of celebrating freedom and democracy. It was in the year 1871 that Bartholdi crossed the ocean on an expedition of immense importance. Not simply a visitor to the United States, he was on a mission. A quest to find the ideal location for what would eventually become one of the most recognized symbols of liberty and freedom worldwide. His journey led him to the New York harbor, a bustling hub for countless voyagers seeking a new life on American soil. Bartholdi was captivated by the sight of the harbor, the energetic hum of activity, the steady stream of ships laden with immigrants dreaming of a brighter future. It was a testament to the spirit of the United States. Bartholdi selected a tiny piece of land known as Bedloe's Island. It was on the shores of this island that his dream would take shape. With a location selected, Bartholdi returned to France, and the task of sculpting Lady Liberty began. Bartholdi made a plaster model of the statue, and the design was approved by Laboulaye in 1875. Now they came to the problem of how to pay for such a massive endeavor. In the 1880s, construction of the Statue of Liberty, and the massive pedestal on which it stood, required more than $500,000, an amount which would be more like $10 million today. It was decided early on that the French would fund the statue, while Americans would be responsible for raising the money for the pedestal, splitting the bill nearly evenly in half. In France, the funds came from a variety of sources. Philanthropists, private individuals, and even municipalities were called upon to donate. Public fundraising events were organized, including art exhibitions, theatrical performances, and even a lottery. Every contribution, whether small or large, assisted with the construction of Lady Liberty. With fundraising well underway, construction of the statue began in 1876. It would have to be manufactured in pieces, shipped across the Atlantic, and then reassembled in the United States. The first piece to be completed was the arm holding the torch. Bartholdi traveled to America for a second time, and arranged for the colossal arm to be displayed at the 1876 Philadelphia Centennial Exposition. Visitors could pay 50 cents to climb a ladder inside the arm and up to the torch, where they could enjoy a view that was both dizzying and breathtaking. Later, the arm was transported to New York, where it was put on display in Madison Square Park. It remained there from 1876 to 1882, when it was returned to France so that the arm could be reunited with the rest of the statue. While in America, Bartholdi urged the creation of fundraising committees, and several sprang up in New York, Boston, and Philadelphia. He returned to Paris in 1877, and began construction of what was arguably the most defining feature of the colossal statue: the head. The statue's face, inspired by classical Greek aesthetics, was crafted with striking detail. Once completed, the head, like the arm before it, was put on public display as part of the continuing fundraising efforts. It was exhibited in 1878 at the Universal Exposition in Paris, where onlookers marveled at its scale and the intricacy of the craftsmanship. In 1879, the project's original engineer passed away suddenly, and Bartholdi brought on none other than Gustave Eiffel. Eiffel would later make his mark with the Eiffel Tower. Having already made a name for himself in the construction of bridges, Eiffel was known for his innovative use of wrought iron. He proposed the construction of an iron truss at the core of the statue. This structure would serve as the central pylon, or a backbone of sorts, providing the primary support and carrying the majority of the weight. The flexibility of this pylon would allow the statue to resist the forces of nature acting upon it. The strong wind sweeping across New York Harbor and the intense summer heat could cause the metals to shift and expand. A rigid internal structure might resist these forces up to a point, but over time, these stresses would likely lead to cracking and deterioration. Eiffel combined the iron pylon with secondary skeletal framework that allowed the statue's copper skin to move independently. An ingenious piece of engineering that would allow the statue to stand the test of time. Progress on the Statue of Liberty was steady. By 1882, the structure was complete up to the waist, and in 1884, the great work was finished. Sadly, Édouard de Laboulaye, the grand visionary behind the project, had passed away the year before, and did not live to see his dream fully realized. The statue would remain in Paris, fully assembled, until the pedestal was far enough along. By 1885, Lady Liberty was meticulously disassembled into 350 individual pieces, each carefully packed into 214 crates, and ready for the transatlantic voyage towards her new home in New York Harbor. The delay was due, in part, to difficulty raising money for the pedestal. Many different methods were attempted, including an auction of art and manuscripts, with respected artists and writers being asked to contribute their work. Among them was the poet Emma Lazarus. Lazarus was initially reluctant to participate, stating that she couldn't compose a poem about a statue. At the time, she was involved in supporting refugees who had fled from Eastern Europe. These refugees arrived in New York, displaced, disoriented, and often deeply traumatized, their living conditions starkly contrasting the affluent world Lazarus inhabited. She recognized in these refugees a reflection of the very values that the Statue of Liberty was set to symbolize. And so, Lazarus penned a sonnet, The New Colossus. Her words, so beautifully capturing the ethos of the Statue of Liberty, would become synonymous with the monument itself. Not like the brazen giant, of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed, sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand, glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she, with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Today, these lines, etched on a plaque within the statue's museum, serve as a constant reminder of the Statue of Liberty's enduring message. Lazarus' poem, like the statue itself, came to symbolize the American welcome for those seeking refuge, liberty, and a better life. As the pieces of the Statue of Liberty arrived in the United States, they were met with anticipation. The immense crates, holding the disassembled giant, landed on American shores on June 17, 1885. Reassembly of the statue did not begin until the summer of 1886, after construction on the pedestal had been completed. The pieces had been crated with wooden forms, to help prevent the massive metal components from deforming during their long journey and their time in storage. Unfortunately, distortions still took place, meaning that some of the pieces had to be refitted in order for the statue to be reassembled. Solving this colossal jigsaw puzzle, each piece carefully marked and numbered in France, was an undertaking as grand as the statue herself. The work was slow and intricate, and every step of the process was observed by an eager and interested public. The copper skin of the statue, only the thickness of 2 pennies, was carefully attached to Eiffel's innovative iron framework. The torch-bearing arm, which had once stood in Madison Square Park to help raise funds for the pedestal, was now joined with the rest of the statue. Likewise, the head, which had been displayed at the Paris World's Fair, was carefully placed. The statue that had before existed in pieces was now beginning to stand tall in her full, towering glory. By October 1886, the Statue of Liberty was ready to be unveiled, standing tall and proud over the New York harbor. The final assembly had not been without its difficulties, but as with all stages of this magnificent project, the dedication, effort, and sheer will had triumphed. The statue, once a dream of liberty and friendship between nations, was now a reality, poised to welcome the world to America's shores. On the afternoon of October 28, 1886, thousands of spectators cheered as the statue was formally dedicated. The atmosphere was electric. New York Harbor transformed into a grand amphitheater, with ships festooned with flags and streamers, their foghorns lending a symphony of celebration to the air. Crowds filled every vantage point, their eyes locked on the draped figure dominating the skyline. In the midst of this human tapestry stood the President of the United States, Grover Cleveland. The statue's creator, Bartholdi, pulled away the grand veil that shrouded Lady Liberty's face, to deafening applause that resonated across the waters. The dedication was even celebrated with the world's first ticker-tape parade. After years of effort, Lady Liberty, a gift from France, had finally found her home, standing tall as a beacon of hope and freedom in New York Harbor. For millions of immigrants in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Lady Liberty was their first glimpse of the United States. Her torch, held high above the waters, was a symbolic welcome to the promises of freedom, opportunity, and refuge they sought on these distant shores. Welcome to Ellis Island, known by many as the Island of Hope, or Tears. The principal federal immigration station in the United States from 1892 to 1954, it lies within the shadow of the Statue of Liberty. Here, over 12 million immigrants were processed, bringing with them a multitude of cultures, languages, and hopes for a new life in America. For most, their entrance to New York Harbor was the culmination of long, arduous journeys from distant lands. The process was daunting. The wait was long. But for those who made it through, Ellis Island was the first rung on the ladder to their new life. Today, Ellis Island stands as a testament to the past, housing the poignant Ellis Island Immigration Museum. The Statue of Liberty, visible from the windows of the museum, reminds us of the intertwined history of these two iconic sites. Over time, Lady Liberty evolved into an enduring symbol of America's immigrant heritage, a silent witness to the stories of courage, hope, and resilience that formed the tapestry of the American nation. In a wider global context, the statue has come to embody democratic ideals, holding a torch aloft for nations across the world. Today, although her gleaming copper skin oxidized over the years and turned its iconic green, the Statue of Liberty still stands tall in New York Harbor. But not without a fair bit of upkeep. Through the years, preservation efforts have been crucial in maintaining this monumental icon for future generations. This undertaking, as one may imagine, is a challenging endeavor. Two major renovations, one in 1936 for her 50th birthday and in 1986 for her centennial, have kept her in good condition. Each time, technicians, artisans, and conservators painstakingly cleaned the statue, replaced damaged elements, and improved its deteriorating infrastructure. The Statue of Liberty has become one of the world's most popular tourist destinations. Along with the accompanying Ellis Island, the statue attracts upwards of 4.5 million visitors from around the globe each year. The observatory inside the pedestal of the statue offers panoramic views of the New York skyline. And for those with the fortitude to ascend the 354 steps to the crown, they are rewarded with an intimate view of Lady Liberty's golden torch and an unparalleled vista of the city that never sleeps. Unfortunately, tourists can no longer ascend to the torch. This has been the case for over a century, as the torch has remained off-limits to visitors since 1916. During the First World War, German saboteurs targeted an ammunition supply located on the neighboring Black Tom Island. And the resultant explosion was of such magnitude that it caused considerable damage to nearby structures, including the Statue of Liberty. In the aftermath, it was decided to close the torch to the public for safety, and that restriction has remained in effect ever since. However, the National Park Service installed webcams in the torch in 2011, allowing anyone from around the world to enjoy an eagle's eye view from the comfort of their own homes. The Statue of Liberty, listed as a World Heritage Site since 1984, stands today not just as a testament to American history, but as a beacon for people worldwide. She is a proud part of the cultural heritage of humanity, her profound symbolism spanning far beyond the geographical boundaries of the United States. Because the essence of the Statue of Liberty, what she truly embodies, is something universal: the human desire for freedom. She stands, torch held high, encapsulating the yearning shared across nations, across generations, for liberty. An enduring symbol, she is a testament to the human spirit, eternally illuminating the path towards freedom. And so, as we reflect upon the legacy of this remarkable structure, we are reminded not just of a shared past, but also of our collective aspirations for a future, illuminated by the light of freedom. A future where the human spirit can truly soar. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel, so that you won't miss a thing. There's more fascinating content coming your way, all the time. Thank you.